Hi, good morning all. Warm greetings from Satyabama Institute of Science and Technology, deemed to be University, Chennai. My name is R.M. Joni. I'm going to host today's session. Hope everyone is safe and well at home. We are very happy about your overwhelming responses. Thank you all for your great support. On behalf of the organizing committee, I take the privilege in welcoming you all to the 6 days short-term training program for students on Introduction to Microcontroller and its Applications, organized by Satyabama IEI Student Branch in association with the Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering and also in association with the Institution of Engineers India. I also welcome Mr. Chunchun Kumar, the Director, Vedamit Technology Solutions Private Limited, Chennai, who is going to be with us on all 6 days to handle this session. We welcome you, sir. It is indeed a unique pleasure and privilege for us to express our sincere gratitude to our founder chancellor, Colonel Dr. JPS sir, who always showers his divine blessings. We take this opportunity to express our deepest gratitude and earnest thanks to our Chancellor Ma'am, Dr. Marizina Johnson, and our President Sir, Dr. Mary Johnson, for their continuous support and high endeavors in motivating us to organize online training programs during this COVID-19 crisis situation. And today's topic is on the introduction to microcontroller and its applications. That is to be handled by Mr. Chunchun Kumar, who is the Director of Vedamit Technology Solutions Private Limited. Vedamit Technology Solutions Private Limited is a research and development based company focusing on electronics and embedded systems. It provides a solution for electronics and embedded product design and development, which addresses the automation, communications, consumer, security, healthcare, media and entertainments, and other products. Its core practice areas cover embedded electronics and software development, industrial design and system integration, and so on. So we are very happy to have you here, sir, to handle the session on introduction to microcontroller and its applications. Over to you, sir. Mr. Chunchun, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much, madam. Thank you for giving opportunity to express my knowledge and to share the things what we are doing and how we are like working in the industry and how we are aligned with the industry, and also to understand the application of that 051 or any other microcontroller. So we will be giving brief to the student like all about the microcontroller and its application and industry practices, how it is being used in the industry, and how it is helpful for us in the day-to-day life, and how in future it will give more enhancement to the people life. So am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible. You can make it a slideshow, sir, full screen slideshow.
Yes, sure.
Yes.
So here first I'll go for 8051, that is our basic microcontroller. So it was developed in 1980s by Intel, and thereafter a lot of microcontroller came into the market, and there are a lot of manufacturers for the microcontroller. So still that 8051 is existing in the market. And when it was developed by Intel at that time, this was patent product, so people could not copy, and also that time it was very costlier product. And later after a few years that patent got over, and after that lot of other chip manufacturer like Microchip and some other vendor, they started manufacturing this 8051. And this 8051 architecture is very well designed, and also it is very professionally it was designed, and based on the power consumption, based on its reliability, everything, it was designed very well. And it's a 8-bit microcontroller. So if you see here, it was developed in 1980 by Intel, and there was based on the currently it is employing CMOS technology and other advanced technology also for power management. And initially it was like consuming more power, but currently it is consuming less power. They have improved their design. So now coming to the, so this is 40 pin microcontroller. So where we will have 4 IO port, like port A, port B, port C, and port D. There will be 4 IO port. And this microcontrollers ideally runs on 11.0592, that crystal frequency. And it has, first we'll go to architecture, how it was designed. So this is the core architecture of the microcontroller, where we have interrupt control. So, and we have CPU. So this main part is CPU, and say CPU will be connected through the oscillator, because oscillator is the core heart for the CPU, because this provides the timing cycle and other thing. And here we have bus control, so we can provide the other control over here. And here in this IO port, so we have, as I told, 4 port will be there: P0, P1, P2, P3. So we can say in A, B, C, D also, this port A, port B, port C, port D. So that also we can define. And here we have, as for communication, we have serial communication. This will be TXD and RXD. And we have 2 timer in this, timer 0, timer 1. And 128 KB RAM memory will be there, which will be helping to execute the program. And 4K will be the ROM memory, read-only memory, where we can, like in the ROM memory, we will have program memory as well as some other extra memory also. So combinedly it will work, like EEPROM, erasable programmable memory also will be there. Okay. So combinedly there will be 4K space. So here, if you see in the CPU, we will have interrupt control. What it does is, like if we are giving some request to the microcontroller, then microcontroller suddenly it will go and read those instruction cycle from the interrupt control, and then it will serve that and will come back to the normal routine. So in normal routine, it will read those instruction what we have written. So there, this interrupt control will be used sometime only in a special case we are using, but ideally we are not using interrupt control. So here in bus we will have, you can see like CPU is the central processing unit, which processes all the instruction and all the command what we are giving. And as I explained about interrupts is required in few cases where some special instruction has to be served based on the user response. And here we have memory. So in memory we will have program memory, and we'll have RAM memory. And in bus we will have address bus and data bus. So address bus is required to provide the address to the CPU, so that it can go and read the instruction, and based on that instruction, it will go to the particular address, and from that particular address, it will read the either variable or it will read the command. So that it will do, and through data bus, this data will flow. So whatever data from the memory, it will come, and whether we are going to write into the memory, so through data bus, data will flow from one end to another end. And we will have oscillator connected here. So this oscillator will be connected to the CPU. So this architecture, what currently we are seeing, is implemented in the almost all the controller, whether it is Atmega controller or whether it is 8051 or any other PIC microcontroller. So this is the core heart and architecture of the microcontroller. So it applies to almost all the microcontroller. Okay. So here I'm explaining about CPU, like central processing unit. It is a mind of processing machine. Like it is a core area and core thing where all the logic as well as all those validations, all those instruction execution, everything will happen in the CPU, and it manages all the process. And also in CPU, user has no power over the functioning of CPU. Yeah. So once we give the command and everything, we will not, the CPU will work according to that, but we will not have control over the CPU, because it externally we can't touch it, externally we can't handle it, and we can't access the CPU in the microcontroller. So only thing we can access is the external peripherals, through external peripherals and through port. So we can handle the port, we can give the instruction to port, but we can't touch directly the CPU. Okay, so now coming to the interrupts, as I explained, this is a kind of like there will be some 3-4 kind of interrupts. Like one will be timer interrupt, one will be like external interrupt, one will be serial interrupt. So and another one will be so here in interrupt there will be, this is external interrupt. But within the architecture, there are so many other interrupt also, like timer interrupt will be there, and then counter also will be there, counter interrupt will be there, and serial interrupt will be there. So these are the interrupt types we will have in the microcontroller. Okay, so what those interrupt means? So if this interrupt means like externally we will have few pin like interrupt 0 and interrupt 1 that will be 2 pin, and in both the pin if we give any external command like high pulse or low pulse that we can configure, so based on that it will go to the special instruction. Now coming to the timer, so if we give timer interrupt, what we will have is in timer we will fix, suppose after 10 seconds that program should come back to serve the special instruction and then go back to the normal routine. So this timer will overflow, and once it gets overflow, it will go to the particular instruction, special instruction, and then it will come back to the normal instruction. Again, here we have serial interrupt. So in case of serial interrupt, what it will do, if we are giving some command through serial, like from GSM or through any other extra peripherals. So if we give any command through the serial port, in that case, what will happen? Suppose we are giving like to stop if we are receiving some signal from the serial, maybe GSM or any other thing. In that case, it will interrupt the program normal routine, and it will serve what we should serve for the special instruction, and then it will come back to the normal. So there are various kind of interrupt in the system. Okay. So for memory, we will have microcontroller program which set of command, like my microcontroller works based on command only. And also like to write the command, we are not directly writing the command into the microcontroller. We are writing a program that is key that is C program in the Keil or some other software, and that is getting converted into the assembly level program, and then that gets converted to the hex file. That assembly level program gets converted to the hex file. That hex file we are burning. So I'll explain about the pin configuration and the software what is being used for the programming 8051. So yeah, so here we can see like we will have a port, this will be port 0, and in port 0 we will have address, this port will work as an address bus and data bus also. That depends on the situation. So normally this will act like a data bus, but if we want to configure it as a address bus, we can configure it as address bus in case if we are connecting any additional or external memory source. In that case, we will configure it as a address bus as well as data bus. Okay, and here we have port 1. This is IO port, so this will be port 1, and this side we will have again port 2, and this again here we will have port 3. And in all the port we will have 8 bits. So if you see here, we will have port 0 to P0 to P7. So 0.0 means port 0, pin number 1, and here we will have port 0.7 means pin number 8. So we will have total 8 lines here, so 0 to 7. So that means we will have 8 IO. So 8 output or input we can take from here. Okay. So based on this, if you check this side also, we will have again 8 ports. So total 8 plus 8 will be 16. Again here we have 8, and again this side we have. So total 24, 32 port we can use as a IO port. And this Xtel 1 and Xtel 1 and 2 will be for the crystal. So this we can't use for any IO purpose, but we can connect this for our crystal, because that crystal frequency is mandatory for the controller to work. If the controller does not have internal oscillator, some controller will have internal oscillator, and but that internal oscillator will have lower speed and not that much fast. So if we are using internal oscillator in some cases, then this additional crystal is not required. But usually in 8051 definitely we need 805 crystal to maintain the speed. And we see here we have two another serial port, RX and TX, as I explained, to use as a serial communication. And for interrupt, we have interrupt 0 and interrupt 1. So what this interrupt will do, this interrupt will interrupt the normal routine, and it will send to the special routine. Okay. And for read and write, if we want to something read and write into the microcontroller memory. So now I can close this, and I will show first here. Yeah. So this is our compiler or software what we are using for 8051 programming. So you can see here, if we want to blink the LED, so if we want to blink the LED, we have here port 1, and here we have port 1 address. So by this we can blink the port 1 all LED on and off, and here we have delay. So this program we have written to just to blink the LED. So this is a very simple program, just example I am giving here. So in first level we have to define the header. We need to include the header file, and then we can define the variable, and here we can write to provide the delay. So delay is nothing but it is count. So how we are providing delay to the microcontroller. So to keep delay, what we are doing, we are just giving some unnecessary task, that is like counting, simply counting. Okay. So we are giving some count to the microcontroller, and the microcontroller will be busy in the counting. So in this case, what we have given is, here we have given this 2 for loop, and with using for loop, we are just making the controller to busy in counting. Okay. So once that all counting microcontroller finishes, then delay will complete. Then it will go to the next instruction. So in this case, we have void main. This is the main program it will be running. Under that, we have while one. So this always will be true, and this will be going in the loop from first instruction to last, and again it will go to the first. So this will run in the loop. So first, what it will do, it will first turn on the LED, and after that it will provide the delay. So when we are calling this delay 250, it will go to this 250 will be provided here, and it will run in 250 cycle multiplied with the 1275. So it will provide delay. And again we are making it off, and then we are giving some delay. So it will be on and off here continuously. Okay. So this we write. So we have to write the program, we have to go to the project, and we need to select the new project. So once we select the new project, in this case, we have to give the some project name.
Sir, 1 second, sir.
Yeah.
Let me give instructions to the students. See, dear student, do not keep scribbling on the screen. We'll come to know who are all scribbling. Please, you will be detained from attending the session. Please maintain the decorum of classroom environment while you are attending the session. If you're not interested, please leave. And don't spoil others.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, in the software, just have to create a project, and under project you have to create a folder, and for folder just give like LED blink. Okay. And once we give LED blink, then it will open for the new project. and it will ask for the target. So for target, it will be which IC we are going to use. So that IC number we have to give. So usually we are using Atmel group 8089S52. So this is Atmel current advanced controller. So once we select that, it will ask for this. We have to give yes. So once you get this source group, you have to right click and add for the one C file. So that you can write here LED blink. So it will open for the new file. Okay. So once this new file starts, then we can write the program. Okay. Okay. Then you can write program for here void delay and all void delay. Okay. I'm not going to write full program. So you can write the function for the delay. And once you write for the delay, then you can write for the void main. I'm writing the structure. Okay, under void main, you can write while one means it will be always true, and under this while true you can write on and off. So if you want to write on means you can just simply write p1 equal to 0xff suppose, and then you can write delay, and then you can write p1 equal to, so this ff means it will be full, that will be in hexadecimal. If you consider, it will be 8-bit 11111111. Okay, so that will make all pin high. Okay, and this will be 0xA means alternatively pin will be becoming high and low. Okay, 5 we can write. So alternatively this pin will go high and low. Okay, and to make this program compile, we can go to the project and we can click on the build target. Okay, so once we click on the build target, what it will do, it will compile the program. Okay, so here we are getting error. So if we can correct this. Yeah, here we didn't put this. Okay. Yeah. So your program completed. Okay, so we are not going to write this currently in microcontroller, but I will show you from here. We will generate the hex file. So here we have created a folder. Not this one. Sorry. Yeah. So here that folder is, and under this, if you see under object, the one second. Yeah, currently hex file not created. So we have to select the output as a hex file. So we can go to project. We can click on the option for target. So once we select here, we need to give the crystal frequency. Okay. So we have given the crystal frequency here, and in output we can select here create hex file. So once we create this hex, we tick this, it will create the hex file. So two things is mandatory. One thing is the crystal frequency, and another thing is output. So once you click this, then and then you have to again click on the build target. Okay. Yeah. So once you click on the build target, it will build the target there, and we can then Yeah, so here you can see we have got this hex file. Okay, so we need to write this hex file into the microcontroller. Okay, so how we can write this? We will have one programmer. Okay, so I think we don't have right now here. So we will have programmer that I can show you in the Google. Yeah, so this kind of programmer will be there. Okay, so we can see. Yeah. So this will be your programmer. You have to insert the IC in this. Okay, and this is a lock for the IC. You can open it and you can just insert the IC and close it. So, and here you will have one side. You will have USB, and from this USB you can connect to your computer USB. And after connecting, you have to burn that program into the microcontroller. So for that we have another software. Okay, so once you connect the programmer with the computer, then you can go for the programmer. Okay, so here we have programmer file. Okay, so in programmer file we have to open the software. Okay, so let it open. Yeah, so this is for like this your software will be, and here you have to select the device. So which controller you are going to program for. Okay, so you have to select the device from here. You can choose the device. So there I have selected the 889S52. So this device will be selected. Then you have to go to the load. So once you click on this, you will have to select the hex file into the whatever it got created through the that software. Okay, so going to desktop now, and here I have kept that. Okay, so I have selected this file, hex file. Okay, so this hex file, Intel hex file got selected. Okay, and to burn this you have to click on the auto. So currently my device is not connected, so it will give error. Okay, so it will not work, but once you click on the auto, automatically it will load the program into the microcontroller. After getting it completed, then you can remove the IC from here and you can put in your development board, and it will work as expected if you write the program perfectly. Okay, so this is the process in the 8051. So as I've explained, there are a lot of steps involved into this, and also this Keel software. This software is costlier software, and it is not open source. It is not free. You have to buy the license, or else you can crack it and then you can use it for your study purpose. But companies and all, they are not allowed to use crack version. Okay, so for a student, there is no problem. So that you can use. And if you don't have license, if you use for the demo version, you can use program up to 2 KB. More than that, it will not generate the hex file. So that is the functionality of this. Okay, so I am closing it right now. Yeah, if you see size wise, that 8051 microcontroller size is a little bigger compared to the Atmega other series like Atmega 328 and other small IC. Okay, so mostly currently very few projects and very few people they are using 8051. Currently 8051 is being used in the some industry only, not in general practice. Okay, now coming to another microcontroller, that is Arduino, that is very famous, and currently almost in all the project, all school project, college project, we are using Arduino boards and Arduino microcontroller that is based on the Atmega. Okay, so this is another controller I am going to explain. So previously I have explained about 8051 because that is very basic, and that gives you idea about microcontroller, and that is the we can say originator or grandfather to all the controller, okay, small controllers currently what is available in the market. Okay, so now here we have about Arduino. What is Arduino? Okay, so it is kind of, just a second. Okay, so Arduino is an open source platform, okay, based on the easy to use hardware and software. So what does it mean easy to use hardware and software? Means based on this Atmega 328, some group of people have made some hardware, they have developed some hardware, and also they have developed some software to make the programming easy. Okay, and the group of people or researchers who have developed this, they did not put it for patent. That's why it is called open source. Means it is accessible to anyone. You don't have to pay any amount to get the software license. Okay, as in case of 8051, we have to buy the licenses for using that Keel compiler or Keel software to write program, to compile the program and generate the hex file. Okay, so here you will have like free, you don't have to pay anything from your pocket. And here for Arduino based project are boards are able to read inputs and turn into the output. So as you know, all the microcontrollers will have IO, that is input and output. So here you will have input as sensors, and output you can have anything like relay or any other devices, that depends on. So it can read from the input, and I just for example I've given activating a motor, turning on LEDs, and publishing something online. Publishing something online means you in IoT you can use. Okay, so you can read the sensor data and you can publish into the website. Okay, and also here how that Arduino was developed, like it was born at the Iberia Interaction Design Institute, that is in Italy. Okay, so first level initially it was developed and designed in the Italy. Now everywhere it is being designed and developed, because now it's open source, anyone can clone it, anyone can copy it, there is no copyright protection. Okay, and it is easy to use, and also it is very easy to use to do the programming. Okay, and why it got popular, it is as it you can see here, as soon as it reached a wider community. How it reached wider community? Because of the open sourcing. So if anything will be open sourcing and there will be no claim on that, then it will be easy for people to use that. It will be easy for people to copy that, and also it will be easy for programming and all, since there is no licensing and no extra cost required. Okay, so it got popular, and now it is being used for the all IoT, wearable, 3D printing, and lot of embedded environments. Okay, so here you can see a lot of Arduino boards. That is, this first board is Arduino Uno, and second board is Arduino Mega. So Arduino Uno will have around 15 uh, digital pin, and you have 6 around analog pins. Okay, and whereas in case of Arduino Mega, you will have 15 analog pin, and you will have around 40 or more than 40 digital pins. Okay, so in case of your requirement is big and you have so many sensors, then you can use Arduino Mega. And this is called Arduino Nano, as this Nano represents, like it will have size will be small compared to all these two boards, and you can use this Arduino Nano in some of the project, like where size matters, like its device should be small, like wearable device and some other thing. And similarly, they have developed this Arduino Pro Mini. Okay, so in all these 1, 2, 3, all these three we are using, like they are using Atmega 328P, while in this one they are using 2560. Okay, so in these three chip will be same, but here in this one package is called DIP, and in this package is called QPFP. Okay, so why we are currently choosing Arduino, and why we should choose Arduino is because of inexpensive. So Arduino boards are relatively less expensive. So it will, if you check for the market price for Arduino Uno and all, it will come to 350 something. While you go for the 8051 microcontroller development board, it will minimum cost around 1000 or more than 1000. Okay. And also for cross platform, that means like Arduino software will support Windows, Mac OS, Linux, and other operating system. While Keel and all will have some limited, it will work on Windows, and it will not support Linux, and it will not support sometime Mac OS also. So because of those things only, this Arduino software is easy to use in the any machine. Okay, and simple, clear programming environment. So this software is developed in such a way that the programming will be very easy compared to Keel. If you see Keel, that you have to write the embedded C, that is quite difficult compared to the Arduino program. Okay. Now for open source and extensive software. So yeah, as I explained before, this software will be open source and extensible software, like can be used in any of the machine. Even nowadays mobile version also comes. Some people can download the Arduino IDE in the mobile, and they can program their controller from mobile itself. Okay, and hardware also, it's a very less expensive because of open source. And also a lot of countries they are making, even some people are developing making the boards in India, China, and other countries. Okay, so due to that hardware cost is very, very low. Now coming to the chip. So in this you can see like sorry, TQFP thin quad flat packet. This chip we are using in a small design, and in Arduino they are using in the Arduino Nano, Pro Mini, and some other Pro Micro, and here DIP is being used in the Arduino Uno. Okay, so these are the features and available in the ATmega 328P. It is 8-bit, and it has AVR, RISC, that is reduced instruction set computer, that makes the system very fast, and also it consumes less power. And it has 32 KB flash memory in this, and erasable, electrically erasable programmable ROM memory will have 1024. So you can write some of the instruction in this. So this will be like safe memory. Like if we are writing some memory and the controller is getting, yeah. So some controller, suppose a controller is getting turned off. In that case, there will be data stored in this. While in the flash memory, like RAM memory, whatever currently there in the memory, and if controller gets restarted, that data will be lost. Okay, but in this case EEPROM, the data will be saved, and once the controller is up, this can read the data from the EEPROM, whatever it written before. Okay, so this is like safe for some data storage. Okay, now we have 23 general purpose IO lines and 32 general purpose working register. So register is nothing but it's kind of memory to perform the operation, to save the some small data for temporary time. And for 23 general purpose IO lines means there will be some digital and some analog. So combinedly together 23 lines will be there. And we have 3 flexible timer counters with compare modes, like we will have timer 0, timer 1, counter 0, counter 1, like that. And we have internal and external interrupts. So external interrupts will be that interrupt 0, interrupt 1. Okay, that will be digital pin 2 and digital pin 3. Okay, and internal will be like that is called timer interrupt and counter interrupt and serial interrupt. All these are called internal interrupt. Okay, so serial can be external, okay, not internal. Serial will be external interrupt. Only timer and counter will be the internal. Okay, so serial programmable USART will be there. That means through TXRX pin you can write directly program into this one. Okay, so you don't need much hardware to program this. Directly from the Arduino board itself you can program the microcontroller. Okay, and here we have, as I explained, 2 packages that comes in 2 packages, that is 8 channel DIP in DIP and TQFP packages. Okay, and in this already there will be 6 channel 10-bit AD converter. So in this microcontroller we have already inbuilt ADC, while in 8051 we have separate ADC because it does not have ADC inbuilt. So we need to interface the external ADC to that. Then only we can read the analog data in the 8051 microcontroller. Okay. Also, this microcontroller have 5 power mode like sleep mode and all. It will have for the power saving. Okay, and based on that we can select to save power. Suppose if we are running on the small battery and all, in that case we need power saving mode. Okay, and operating voltage for device will be 1.8 volt to 5 volt. If we give more than 5.5 volt, then IC up to some level like up to 7 volt and all, IC will start malfunctioning. And if we give more than that, then IC will burn. Okay, so we have to keep like this voltage in the controlled level in between. So 5 usually we are giving 5 volt through the 5 volt regulator, that is 7805 or any other AMS series voltage regulator. So we have to reduce the voltage from 12 volt or 9 volt, whatever input voltage we are giving, and we need to give fixed voltage to the microcontroller. So here is pin out for the Atmega 328 pin 28P, which is being used in the Arduino microcontroller. Okay. So if you go by pin here, first it will start for the reset. So to reset we have to connect one push button and one capacitor and resistor to make the reset pin connection. And if you see here for the digital pins, okay, so these are the digital pins, 0, RX0, TX1, and this all for total up to 13 pin will be there, total 14 pin will be there, that will be digital pin. So all these this color digital pin 0, 2 digital pin 13, so 8 will end here, 9 will start from here, 10, 11, 12, 13, so here it will over. And this side 2 pin will be there, that is VCC and ground. And here we have crystal and this crystal, so these two will be connected to the crystal, and these two VCC and ground will be connected to the 5 volt. Again this ground will be connected to ground, and this AVCC will be connected to the 5 volt. Okay, so analog reference also it will connect to the voltage. Okay, or we can leave this pin open as our wish, and this pin will be our analog pins. Okay, so this is the pin configuration of the microcontroller. I will show some of design which currently I am working on for some new development. I'll show how I'm defining those things. Okay, and here we have TQFP package. Similar to this, we will have this pin configuration. So analog pin will be written as A0 to A5, and digital pin, all this pin will be written as a D1 to D13. Okay, digital pin 13. So out of this we have few PWM pin. So this 9, 10, 11, all these pin can be used as a PWM. PWM nothing but it's a square wave generation. So through this pin we can generate the square wave also. Okay. So if we want to turn on some transistor or MOSFET, then through this digital pin we can turn on that. Okay. And we can control the speed of the motor through the PWM pulse. And also this through PWM pulse we can control the servo motor. Now here we have Arduino Uno board. So this board explanation is there, and if you see here, this will be power jack, and here we have onboard voltage regulator, that is called LDO, low drop voltage regulator, and this is type B USB connector. You can connect from your computer to program, and this is reset pin, and this IC is for serial communication between this USB and this microcontroller. Okay. So this will be in between microcontroller and USB. That is our computer we will connect. And this side we have few power pins. That is through this LDO 3.3 voltage you will be getting. Some sensors require 3.3 volt, so we need this 3.3 volt. And to some sensors we can give 5 volt. That 5 volt will be connected from here. And 2 ground will be there. That is like here you can see in the board. 2 pin you can connect to the ground. and V in. Suppose if you are not connecting this through the power jack, then you can give some power from the V in. Okay. Now here we have our uh, uh, analog pins, that is ADC, ADC0 to ADC5. So with this pin we can connect analog sensor like temperature sensor is analog sensor, some gas sensor will be analog sensor. So I will explain about what is analog sensor and what is digital sensor later. Okay, so just understand, like this is analog pins, and here we have digital pin from here to here, and which are all the pins supporting PWM that we have written here. Okay, and there are so many communication protocol, like 3 to 4 communication protocol in the Arduino or Atmega controller. So here you can see this is I2C. This is communication bus. Okay, using this we can interface so many other devices that I will explain also. And here we have CUART, that is also serial devices. And here we have SPI, serial peripheral interface. This is also one kind of communication between device to device. Okay, and here for programming you can use in circuit serial programmer. There will be some USB type of programmer. So here also, through this also we can program. Okay, but in this case this is not needed, as we have USB to program this Atmega. Okay, so I'll now go for the what is analog and what is digital pin. Okay, so in analog pin you can connect any analog sensor. And what does it mean? So analog pin will be able to read voltage between 0 volt to 5 volt, like 0 0.1, 0 0.2, 1, 1.2, any voltage it can read from here. Okay, but from digital pin it can either read 0 or it can read 5. Okay, in between if any voltage is there, you will not get exactly, either it will give result as a 0 or it will give a result as a 1. Okay, so it will read, digital pin will read two value, that is low or high only, and also it will give output as a high and low only. Here while in analog pin you can read any value in between. Okay, so now I am going to say one statement. Okay, that you just try to understand. So this analog pin you can connect digital sensor also to the analog pin, but you can't connect your analog sensor to the digital pin. Okay, so anyone can say why? You should ask this question. Okay, why we can't connect analog sensor to the digital pin, and why we can connect the digital sensor to the analog pin? Okay, so I'll explain you the reason. Because analog pin will read 0 also, it will read 5 also, and it will read in between whatever voltage is there, that also. So if you connect any digital sensor to the analog pin, when it gives 0, that time also analog pin will read, and when it gives 5, that time also analog pin will read. So it can read that digital sensor. While if you connect your analog sensor to the digital pin, it cannot read the middle voltage. It can read only 0 and 5. Okay, middle data it will miss. Okay, so that's why we are not connecting this analog sensor to the digital pin. Only we are connecting the, if we need, we can connect the digital pin into the analog. Okay, and in case of output also, through analog you can generate the digital output, but through this one you can't generate the analog output. Okay, now going to I2C protocol. So here we have SDA. Okay, and here we have SCL. So SDA will be providing, like it will through this bus data will be flowing, and through this bus SCL means for clock pulse will be flowing. Okay, so these two line you can connect so many devices there. MPU 6050, that is a gyroscope, and some other devices which will have SDA and SCL. Okay, and here for SPI, some of the devices you can connect for SPI, like our LoRa devices, that is wireless communication devices, that you can connect with the SPI. And also there is device called mm, some wireless devices that also will have SCK, MISO, MOSI. Okay, so this pin you have to connect. So this MISO means master in slave out, and MOSI means master out slave in, and this SCK will be the signal of clock signal, and this SS will be for sense like control signal for those both. Okay, so which will be acting as a master, which will be acting as a slave. For those definition, SS also is used. Okay, and for UART communication, you will have TX and RX. So through UART you can connect your GSM, you can connect your GPS, you can connect some other UART to USB converter. Okay, so those devices you can connect in the TX RX pin. Okay, so here same pin I have explained here. Okay, so here it was more detailed. So this all red will have PWM inbuilt. Okay, so here in PWM, if you see, there will be symbol marked in this. So for PWM pin, you can see here, just a second, let me zoom it. Okay, so here you can see AC symbol will be there. So wherever you see this negation symbol or AC symbol, uh, this will this gives. Okay, so here we have now you can see this PWM pin symbol will be there, so you can understand here they have written like PWM and this symbol. So wherever in this pin the symbol will be there, that pin can be used as a PWM pin. Okay, yeah. So now coming to sensors. Okay, so I'll go through the sensors more. More sensor I will be covering, but currently I'm giving detail about analog and digital sensor. So there are two type of sensors here. We have analog sensor and another sensor is digital sensor. Okay, so in analog sensor we will it will produce continuous output signal or voltage. So here you can see we have liquid level, and here we have for signal. So there will be varying voltage in between. Okay, so when liquid level will go up or it will heat, suppose here we have temperature thermocouple or thermometer. So that value of this output will be varying based on the temperature. Okay, so voltage will be varying. So based on that voltage, there will be analog output signal. So here you can see the graph. So with respect to time, when liquid is heating, this analog value will be growing. It will be going up. Okay. So this analog, if it is this analog sensor, and if you connect to the microcontroller, it will give you the reading. So what is the based on that you can understand like what is the temperature. So from here you will get the data in terms of voltage. But in controller, after reading, you have to convert that voltage into the temperature. So you have to do the multiplication. You have to find the formula for this, and according to that, you can display the temperature of the liquid. Okay. So here you can see like physical quantities such as temperature, speed, pressure, displacement, and strain, etc. All are analog quantity, and they tend to be continuous in the nature. So all these kind of data we can read through the all these data we can read through the this microcontroller analog pin. Okay. So now what is digital pin? So digital sensors produce discrete digital output, either 0 or 1. Okay, and that voltage you can see like it will be discontinuous. So in this case, if you see, here is transmitter, IR transmitter, and here is detector. Okay, and there is one plate in between, and under that plate there will be hole. Okay, so when the disk will be rotating, and whenever that hole comes in between, this will pass the signal to the detector. At that time, detector will give high output, that is called 1, means 5 volt, and when it goes to the covered part, it will go give as a 0. So it will give either 0 or 101 0101 like that it will. Okay, so if you want to the measure the speed of the disk, you can measure, because in one disk, suppose 10 holes are there, then 10 times this signal will be 10 times this signal will be up. Okay, because that hole will cross the IR transmitter receiver. So you can count the pulse with respect to time, and you can generate the you can formulate to give the speed of the motor. Okay, so in that case we can measure through the digital output. There are so many digital sensors like flame sensor. There are some sensor like IR sensor, the PIR sensor. Those all sensors are digital sensors. So through digital sensor we can measure the value. Like in case of IR, we can make something to detect any human, like a small doorbell we can make. Okay, so in front of door, if anyone comes, that a small that IR sensor will detect, and it will give high pulse to the microcontroller. Once it gives high pulse to microcontroller will have buzzer or that sound. It will buzz, so that will come to know that anyone in like people are there in the gate. Okay, so through that this concept we can develop so many projects based on the digital sensors. Okay, so based on the requirement we are choosing the sensors, and we are reading the value, and we are making the output according to our need. Okay, so this is two type of sensor I have explained. Now further I will explain about some more sensors also. Okay, so I think time is up today, so we will wind up here itself. Okay.
Dear participants, the attendance link will be shared in the chat box. Please do fill the attendance link. So attendance link will be given on all days. Please fill the attendance form.